What they do? They smile in your face all the time. They want to take your place. The Backstabbers. Backstabbers. We all felt that way before, right? Beautiful song produced by Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff, and from Philly International Records, the OJ's, 1972. I did my research. Great song, and one of those songs that will always be apropos in certain situations, a lot of situations, especially when it comes to friendship, employment, just different stuff. You know, I've been backstabbed both times in both situations, as many of you may have been. But we're talking about P. Diddy. So a lot of people have taken a stand, and regardless as to which side you fall on, whether you're a pro Diddy, against Diddy, pro Cassie, however you want to look at it. But the way I want to look at it is from an angle of intention. So most of these people, when they were first employed by him, like, for instance, Cassie, because she was under the label, although his intentions may have not been totally pure, but she was an employee. Dawn Richard was also an employee, one of the members of Danity Kane. Gene Dill, who comes up a lot and who's given a lot of stories for years and predicted a lot of this arrest stuff way before time, who was once a bodyguard for Puff. His personal assistant, who testified a day or two ago. So you think about all of these people, and over the years, a lot of people, especially following hip hop, have said that Puffy has, or P. Diddy, for people who know him now, has said that he's done, a lot of different things, a lot of foul things. But the thing to me also is that he's also done a lot of things for people. And so it makes me think to myself, do you really want to be rich? Would you really want to be rich? Because to me, even those people that have taken a stand have all in some way benefited from being around the rich guy. One case in the situation, let's take Dawn Richard. And I remember watching her when they made the group Danity Kane. And, I was like, okay, all right, well, they're not a bad group or whatever. But, they became famous. I don't know how much money they made or didn't make, but they became famous. But when people get in these situations, they come enamored with the limelight. Even with Cassie, at a certain point, they said she was possibly getting $20,000 per week for allowance. She also, because of everything that has happened, got a $20 million payout from Diddy, along with a $10 million payout that's soon to come from the hotel in California, the Intercontinental. A $30 million windfall. Now, I know people are going to say, you know what, but she was abused. She was treated badly. I get it. I got sisters, a mom, aunts, daughter. I get that part about it. But she's cashing out $30 million. $30 million. And the thing that's upsetting to me about any of these situations is that these are people that will stick around with you for so long. Even a personal assistant, he got up and testified to a bunch of stuff. Definitely not as erroneous as what allegedly happened to Cassie. But, even him, he got up there and he testified about certain stuff. And I'm sure he was a well-compensated employee until he allegedly quit or resigned because he said that it was just too much for him, as far as it was too dangerous after an alleged incident involving Suge Knight. So it was too dangerous for him. But once again, also another person who got to live in a lifestyle and be in a lifestyle of a millionaire to be billionaire, and P. Diddy. And the reason I want to attack this side of it is because, yes, there is probably many bad things that have gone on that are the fault of P. Diddy. But also, it's amazing how so many people benefited, so many people profited from it. But then you look around and then there's nobody to be found. There's nobody to just sit in the courtroom. There's no friends. There's no, and that's what kind of makes you think that a lot of times, especially at those levels, that friendship is fake. Because somebody had to do well under Diddy, didn't they? Somebody had to make some money. Somebody had to become famous and popular because he signed them / put them on. I would have never known who Mace was. All right. Possibly, maybe Mace would have signed with somebody else because he was talented. I would have never known or seen the blow up of a Big E or Total or 112, Craig Mack, Black Rob, any of these other guys. Because say what you want to say, Puffy ran music back then. And the type of music he put out was feel-good music for the most part and music that everybody could vibe to and that everybody liked. So it often gets me when you have people that have done a lot for a person, but then it's this backstabber mentality. And even in real life, let's get off of P. Diddy, Puffy for a second. Even in real life, have you ever felt like that? Have you felt like, dag, you know what? Maybe a friend, a family member, a girlfriend, or ex, whatever, and you said to yourself, you know what? I've done all that I can do. I've tried to do everything that I can do, but still, my back is hurting. Still, I feel the kick to my back. Still, it's hard to pull the knife out of my back. And it's a hurtful thing because you're thinking to yourself, as a person, as a good person, as a decent person, although we all make mistakes and fall short, but as a good person, as a decent person, I really tried to do what I can do for this other person who I considered a friend, who I considered a girlfriend, who I considered a mate, a confidant, or whatever. And I tried to do the best that I could do for them, and they still stabbed me in the back. And you say, well, Greg, what's stabbing you in the back? Talking trash about you. And not just to one person, because, we all kind of confide in one person, but 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Anybody who will listen. The guy that's on the corner smoking a Newport. Hey, let me tell you about this guy I know. Let me tell you about my friend and how he doesn't need to be doing this, or that. Or somebody you're romantically involved with, and then you find out stuff here, there, and everywhere about your relationship. Or I'll give you a better one. When you're romantically involved with somebody, and then they try to go to your friends and tell your business. See, it's one thing if somebody finds out through a means that has nothing to do with you or your friends, because guess what? They're your friends. You're allowed to tell your friends whatever you want to tell them. But it's crazy when you got your friends or a friend cross-talking to your lady, your ex, your baby mom, your ex-wife, your whomever, and they feel that it's okay to have a conversation about you with them. Even though, for the most part, you have been a good friend and sometimes even a great friend to this other person. Now, backstabbing, it's like, we know that that's been going on forever. Even back when, Brutus, I can't even remember his name. He stabbed Caesar in the back. And Caesar said, "Et tu, Bruto?" He threw. You too? Like everybody else did it. They're all against me, but you were my boy. You too? And you think to yourself, have I been that type of person? Have I been the type of person? And maybe I have, because we know that everything is subject to somebody else, how somebody else feels. Because your perception of yourself could be, hey, look, I'm great. I have no issues, even though I know I got issues, but I don't have any issues that are that big to the point where I would be deemed as a backstabber. And the funny thing about a backstabber is, because I remember I had, when I was working, had a job, and you ever had friends where you work with and they just yap, and they talk about everybody else. And so you think to yourself, oh, I'm close with them. They'll never talk about me. And then what happens? A lot of times they wind up talking about you. Because remember, you thought that you were special. You thought that backstabbing, talking trash about people, was only for the people that they weren't cool with. But you come to realize that all you are is just special when you're in front of their face. But then after that, your backstabbing session is coming up next. Especially when they're no longer feeling you, or they use the excuse, oh yeah, well, he did this, so now I feel warranted in telling this. Like real immature stuff. I heard that he's such and such, as opposed to confronting the person and saying, hey, did you say this about me? And giving the person an opportunity to say, hey, yes or no. But a lot of times with backstabbing, who's going to who's going to say, because what do most people think? Most people think, hey, look, I'll never get caught. He'll never find out what I said about him. And a lot of times, guess what? You don't want to know what people say about you. Do we really always want to know what we say about each other? No. But when it gets to a point where it becomes regular, where it gets to a point where it could become potentially detrimental, when it gets to a point where your spouse or ex-spouse or ex-mate or ex-kid's mom or whatever finds out information, that's backstabbing. That's backstabbing. Many people have been hurt, killed, put in jail for running their mouths. So now, back to the Diddy thing, I guess they all, had to go on trial. Some people, even Dawn Richard, supposedly is still suing Diddy and still wanted to come back and work with him, although she considered him to treat Cassie on a couple different occasions badly. So I'm not here really to take a side one way or another. But what I am here to say is, what kind of person are you? What kind of person takes money from people, gets employed by people, hangs out with people, cool with people, and then they find a way to turn around and be a backstabber? Because just like they said in that song, they smile in your face, but all the time they want to take your place. Now, you might not have anybody, a friend or somebody that might want to take your place. But when you find out that they've been a backstabber to you, you need to get your face out of the place. If you get what I'm saying. Whether it's a girl or a guy, get your face out of the place. Got you. So, but hey, you tell me what you think. Was Diddy just that bad? Or was he surrounded by a bunch of backstabbers? And hopefully, if you got backstabbers around, you've already gotten away from them. And I hope you found out. Maybe you even had to kick their butt. But anyway, you let me know what you think. But as usual, until next time, live life. Don't let life live you.